I'm man Gabriel Langley. Now, none of you know this, but we've done this recording before and had some technical difficulties. But he's back, we're back, and we're back at it. How's the last? I guess we talked about 6 months ago, but how's it been the last 6 months?
It's been a challenge, a good challenge, though. You know, had a lot of things that we put into action. Had a couple changes with the company and leadership, but all has been for the best. And like I said, I call 2023 my planting season. Tilling the ground, planting the seeds. And 2024, I believe, is going to be a great harvest season. So I'm looking forward to it. We just now kicking off the first of the year, going into this man. This first quarter is already rolling. So definitely trying to keep my hands on the wheel.
Absolutely. And that goes for a lot of us. Same here,
Yeah.
man. I really believe that 2023 was planting season, if you will. And a lot of my clients and business owners that I know kind of felt that way in 23. And in 24, it's time to get after it. And I believe that's where we're at. So why don't you tell everybody about what you do, what you got going on, and kind of your backstory to what led you to want to do your business?
Okay. Well, Alpha Group Innovation, also known as AG Management, we are a management entity that leverages strategic partnerships to help grow and facilitate growth for small and medium-sized businesses. Um, the biggest thing that I like to say is what we do to make it simple is um, we are the NOS kit in your high performance engine. We're going to be that shot that's going to get you going a lot faster, a lot harder, a lot stronger in every aspect of what you're already trying to do. I'm not going to come in and change the wheel for you. I'm just going to show you how to make it more efficient. And so for me, it's leadership. It's understanding the individual styles of your team, yourself, how you perform and manage and grow, and how to get all of those aspects around you to function at high capacity so you can reach those milestones, those goals that you set for. Most small businesses, the milestone and goals are, I want to turn these revenues. I want to hit these quarterly numbers. I want to satisfy my investors and shareholders. And so a lot of times we're targeting towards the financial aspect of things. And still, I believe that a lot of the financial things that can be accomplished starts with the individual leading the ship, understanding how they function best to manage the rest of the ship.
That's important, right? You got to know who you are in
Yes,
order to grow anything or anybody else.
absolutely.
That's vitally important. Love what you got going on there. As you've seen and worked with a lot of business owners, what do you think is that first step to one, wanting to work with you, but recognizing that, hey, I got to do something else if I'm going to take that next step, right? Because really, I know we both want to work with people that are like, hey, go getters and let's get at this. Um, but sometimes business owners are only good at their lane, making the widget, selling this, doing that. And they don't know what they don't know to take that step. So, what would you say to those people just to get like that first step going?
Absolutely, man. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Most business owners, they're good at their lane. And again, uh, my initial background in business came from being a musician. I started out as a musician, a touring musician at a very young age. And I had the privilege to work alongside of a lot of great managers, one in particular that taught me a lot about the business industry. And I think a lot of what I took out of that was what you see in today's industries now when it comes to entertainment in general. People don't understand what a manager is. A manager is that person that has their eye on the capital gain of your business at all times, why that make your business unique. So for those individuals that don't understand what a manager, management entity, or a developer like myself can come in, or a consultant like yourself can come in and do for you is we take that aspect of your business and we keep our eye focused solely on that aspect so you can be the talent that you are. You're good at baking cakes. You go and you focus on baking those cakes. Let me focus on helping you line up these other aspects to achieve those financial goals. You're good at selling tiles. Absolutely. Go and be the best salesperson in the tile and textile industry so we can focus on those other minute aspects that allow you to continue to build and grow and be successful. It's in essence, it allows you to really step into your lane in its totality. It allows you to really focus on what makes you great, what made you decide to go into business for yourself. And as most people always say, I want to do something that I love. Well, this is that opportunity. Focus on doing what you love. Let us come in and help folks. And it doesn't have to be a long-term engagement. It can be a short-term investment. It can be a long-term investment, whatever works best for you. But understand that sometimes you need someone to manage so you can be the talent to get everything lined up. And then however that flows, in most cases, in my situation, most people, when they realize the benefit of having someone like me focusing on those aspects of them, then they say, okay, it's actually more lucrative to keep me around than it is to say, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of your knowledge and then I'm gonna go and try to do it again. And then next thing you know, 6 months or a year down the line, you're calling me back saying, hey, what do I do next? It's like,
Right.
well, you know what? I had next lined up for you 6 months ago. You could be 6 months further along than where you are, but hey, we're here now. So it is just definitely one of those things where you have to understand you are a talent. In most cases, the talent is not that astute in the business realm or the things that are things that they don't really know that they don't know. And so someone like myself or like you come in and say, hey, these are the areas of opportunity. These are the things that I can see that we can do more efficiently. These are the things that I can see that we can come in and make this ship run smoother, run faster, run harder, and everybody more cohesive and get to those milestones a lot faster than what you're trying to do. And so once those understandings are on the table and everybody on the same page, man, it's a beautiful thing to see the change in the emotions around a small business and see those dreams realized. It's a big part of why I do what I do, just to see people realize their dreams and their passion.
I'm so glad you brought up the emotions part of it, because what you're talking about is really hard one for business owners, right? It's delegation, giving up, right? They feel like
Yeah,
they're giving
absolutely.
away their baby. And we understand that, right? We understand that part of it. But when you're running a business, the running the business portion, you really can't have those emotions. You can't
Right.
be
Absolutely.
emotional. There is literally just there's always going to be gray area, but there is black and white things you need to do to have an efficient business.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
emotions cannot come into play with that. And that's where hiring us, and I know we have different tools in our tool belt and actually can work together on those. But when you hire someone like us, we're able to understand your emotions, understand where you want to go, and help you cross that bridge of what needs to actually happen. And we'll also take upon that blame game too, right? Right. I love doing
Absolutely.
this with my clients, especially at first until they can get into it, is blame Stoy. Sorry, XYZ, I can't do this because Stoy said I can't, right? Or
Mhm.
no, we need to stick to this budget because Stoy said it. Like, use us that way until you can learn and get through that emotional part. That's what we're here for, right? That's what the experts
Absolutely.
are here for.
Yeah,
Why do you believe? Or you gonna say something real quick?
yeah. I actually want to. I want to give a real life situation that just recently happened. For your listeners to understand, like this is not made up type of dynamics. So I'm working with a small entity in Texas right now, and they've been working on their brand for a little over 4.5 years. And I mean, solid brand, nothing's wrong with it. Other than that, uh, it's very wordy. Everything is to take in and absorb what they're trying to absorb. It's a lot. It makes sense. It describes them to the T and all of that stuff, but it's a lot for a consumer to grab hold of and retain. And so when they brought me in, um, I had a hard sit down with them and I started to slow roll out some differences that they can look at. And eventually I just sat them down and said, hey, look, here's some concepts that I came up with to rebrand your product. Very simple, very clean, very straightforward. It still describes you, but it is something that a person can see in a matter of a few seconds and take with. And they didn't understand what I was talking about. So what I did was I put together some merchandise, a little bit of merchandise. I told them, hey, I said, take this merchandise and give it away. And when they started to give it away, people, the reaction that people were giving was, man, I love this. I can see myself wearing this on a regular basis and things of that nature, even though the product didn't necessarily associate to their everyday life. But because the imagery was so simple, clean, and definitive it was palatable to wear on a regular basis. I said, now you have people that are walking around that are consistently pushing your brand because it's a lot more palatable just to carry over in an everyday lifestyle. I said, and that's what you want. You want to become that household name, that household brand. You have to become seamlessly integrated with people's everyday life, And so it wasn't until that moment they realized, and the owner came back to me. He said, man, he said, I've been holding on to this brand for 4.5 years. He said, man, because it was everything to me. It was what I started with. It was what I cut my teeth. I said, man, that's every business owner. I said, you put your heart and your passion into the beginning of that business. Everything that you wanted, you put into effect. You put that imagery together. That's you. I said, but now you're in a position where you want to grow and you want to understand how to grow your business and how to expand and grab more market and grab more revenue and clientele. I said, that's me. That's what I do. I'm that person that comes in and see how to make what you have develop into something greater. I said, so now that you see that, I said, now we can move forward. So now every time I say something, it's like, man, all right, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about something, man, I hear you. There's no questions asked. So that is a real life situation that, somebody like you and I can come in and see those things. We don't have the emotional attachment to the things that you have put so much work into. And that's understandable. It's absolutely understandable. But because we don't have that emotional attachment, we can really see the chess moves to make your business grow.
And our experience allows us to see things that they would never be able to see because they've never been through it, right? Like we can see things that you won't ever be able to see because we've been through it, our experience and our emotions are in it. So it's not going to blind us to certain things. I want to piggyback that, right? That is an important step. We understand that. Our successful clients understand that. In our community, and I was just chopping it up with a couple of my colleagues about this because I was presented with this question of, is the Black and brown community a good community? Meaning, do they have enough assets? Do they have enough money? Are they good enough community in order for financial planners and consultants to really go after? And my response was, well, yeah, because there's not very many of us, and so it's tough. But the other part is we just don't know, right? So locally here in Des Moines, there are more Black millionaires than I understood. However, they don't work as much together and see each other as more competition, right? And I see you're shaking your head like that because in our society, that's what we love to do. I don't know why, but we love to bring each other down or create this friction for no reason. When, if you look at history, the wealthiest of people work together somehow, some way to keep making more and more and more. And now I'm not always going to be on the money train, and money isn't the end all be all. However, they do have it and we don't. Yeah. So what can you give from an experience perspective or thoughts that you have around our community not being able to take this next step and hire someone like us to get to them to grow and keep doing that, as opposed to letting others pull them down?
Man, it's an amazing statement that you just put there. I had a work with a company some years ago, a really big brand, and they wanted to attach themselves more to the community. And so I rolled out this community effort called Stronger Together. And the entire idea of the platform was to start highlighting local small businesses, bringing them in the fold, to align them with the bigger brand as a partner. And, people don't understand, it is a real concept being stronger together, and that's why, a lot of my business is really hinged on strategic partnership. Well, I am the one that go out and I understood a long time ago that everyone is not really good at networking. Everybody's not really good at working a room and making those connections, uh, shaking hands, kissing babies, whole
Right.
politicianal thing. So that's okay. You do not have to be that. I can bring that to the table for you, and I can bring my skill set of you partnering with someone. I can see how this partnership can be mutually beneficial. You may not be able to see that. I can see that. And as you said, for whatever reason, we are first to see someone as competition before we see someone as an ally, before we see an asset in someone else's business. And you'll be surprised at someone that is using this person's business over here, their customer base also need your business. Even if you're in the same field to some degree, there's going to be some specializations that you're more astute to than this partner over here. There may be some collaborations to go along with that. There's enough people to go around. Even if you did try to tackle 100% of the clientele, individual will be completely overwhelmed and will begin to either falter on some of their deals or give poor customer service in the process. So strategic partnerships, even in the same field, works because now you can cross market, you can cross brand, you can cross solicit to your clientele bases. There are so many other opportunities when we work together versus seeing individuals as some type of competitional base versus, hey man, you have clients, I have clients, you have a niche, I have a niche. Let's work together. Let's put something together. Let's go and service this community together. Let's go and service that community together. There's always an opportunity to be stronger together than it is to be adversaries. Always.
Always. And I love how you had that. I created a buddy of mine. When was this? 2020, basically 1920 is when we had this. And it was called a Together Period, literally Together with a period.
Right.
And we called it Together Period Movement. And what we were doing is we were highlighting all the things that basically are going on in our society and how it all correlates as much as possible. And we were trying to bring people together to go through gun rights, go through the socioeconomic divide, by the way, which I think is bigger than the race divide, and just attack these issues, right?
Hey, that's a whole nother show.
Oh, that is a whole. I'll bring it up, but that's a whole different thing. And we created this movement for that. The thing that ended up, I guess, failing is how much work you have to put in to get people to come to these or just to open up and talk. And that's why I have a podcast, and I'm really trying to get people just to talk. In our community, we don't like to talk. Like, right? We're going to flaunt our things, but we don't like to openly have a discussion and conversation. How do we get people to do that? How do we get people to have a conversation? Because that's all it really comes down to.
There's a theory called common ground theory. And it's starting to make its way across social media and a couple different podcast platforms. Very similar to what you're doing here. This is a common ground platform. And essentially what common ground theory means is someone is delivering a message in a manner that is received by the majority of people listening in a way that's understandable and relatable to their own situation. That's really the beginning point of us working together, is someone starting a dialogue about a topic that everyone can attach to. This is a beautiful thing because we're having a candid conversation about something that everyone needs to know about. Whether you're a business owner or not, you still need to have a financial understanding over your life, and so having this platform, having these conversations between you and I, you and your other guests, there's going to be a time where someone's going to come across your show and there's going to be a relatable individual in front of them that they can attach themselves to. That's going to allow them to feel more attached to society, feel more attached to reality, give them a sense of belonging to society and be able to move forward. And so having these conversations on these platforms, being that social media is kind of the way of the world right now, this is the best thing to do. It is having these candid conversations that are accessible to people. Now, obviously, you have so many people out there that's using it for ill-gotten gain. That's going to happen.
Right.
But for the majority of people and for majority of the things that are being said, we have to have these conversations, the hard conversations, the long-winded conversations, because at some point it's going to resonate with somebody that's going to give them a sense to speak their piece. And if you've ever been in a room where it was dead silent, no one wanted to talk, and the person that's running the room or the facility say, anybody, somebody, and they point to someone, and that person says one thing, and they say their piece, and then next thing you know, everybody has a voice. It's infectious. So starting the conversation is really where it comes down to having these conversations where people can relate to them. Once they are heard, once they reach the masses, it's going to be infectious. More people are going to talk, more people are going to open up. And as more people go open up, then that brings the opportunity for individuals like ourselves to be able to clarify, be able to take that information that they have and their misunderstandings and bring them to understand what they really need to be, what they're thinking, how they're feeling, and really get to a place where they're moving forward. So stronger together, stronger, period. That makes all the sense in the world, because, hey, we have to do this together. My dad had an old saying: either we're going to work together or we'll die together. And that's it was never more real to me until I got in the business world. Either I'm gonna work with people that I normally wouldn't work with, or there's a potential we're all going to die from famine because we're not making anything.
Right.
COVID was about to show that to all of us.
Right. Yeah, it sure was.
It is a real thing, man. It's definitely a real thing. We got to work together.
We do. We really do. And I believe we are ripe. I think there are us out there showing enough to start those conversations. I really think it's coming to light. Just everyone's always like, well, why isn't it there? Like, we are behind. Okay, we're a few decades behind. Can we catch up? And we're working
decades,
on it.
You might be shortening that up here a little bit
that's
longer.
True. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I wanted to hit upon just something real quick, what you said, and I loved it. And I wanted to put a little more to it. And you said, even if you're not a business owner, listen to this. It is important to listen. I wanted to shine a little more light on that, because if you're an employee and you can kind of understand how a business runs and what a business owner has to go through, not only is that going to be better for you because you can help. If you can help, guess what? Now you're more of an asset. If you're more of an asset, you're probably going to get paid more, better leadership role, ownership. I mean, all those things come into play. Not to mention, you now are getting an education on something that you don't have to worry about, right? Being a business owner sucks. Let's be real. It sucks. There's a lot of things we got to do. And if you're an employee who can understand that and you can help run it, and you don't have to deal with all of that, you're going to be an asset to no matter who you work for. So even if you're listening to this and you're an employee, it is still good information to learn from.
Absolutely. That's you hit that spot on. It is definitely an opportunity for anyone to grow themselves and become more of an asset in the position they are, or become an asset and grow out of the position they are. So, perfect, man. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's do this. I wasn't going to, but we're getting into it. Socioeconomic divide, okay? I will say it. I believe that divide is bigger in our society than the race in our society. And I'm just going to put it out here and let you finish with that or start the conversation. But I say that because most of the issues that we deal with are money-based. Our mental health, our physical health, everything is intertwined with money, right? When you think of poor communities, you think of, Asian, Black, Mexican, doesn't matter the community, right? We equate them to poor areas of any city, whether that's done by the city in years past because of racism or whatever have you. But if you look at it now, it's more about rich and poor, or we have a dying middle class, so there's not much of that. But it's more about who has money and who doesn't. When you look at your city around, yes, there might be pockets where it's mainly one race or not, but also there's huge pockets of just whites that are poor as well. And so for
Yes.
me, I believe now we are closer together in terms of money and how much money we have between the poor and the rich. And that keeps getting wider and wider and wider. And the more wider that gets, the more the lower class, the poor communities start fighting each other as opposed to working together to come out of it. So that's my opinion. I'll die on that hill for now, but I want to get your insight on that.
I think the biggest thing that has been a revelation to me that came out of the pandemic is no matter your race, your age, your skin color, your religious belief, we were all fighting the same entity. We were all fighting this COVID-19 epidemic, social challenge, economical challenge. We were all fighting this. It didn't matter who you were. Everyone was affected. And I believe what came out of that for me and a lot of people in the business world is we are more alike than we are different. And the socioeconomic classes have to look at it from that standpoint as well. There's not more resources here or there in terms of what's available. Everybody has availability to something. It is the education that you have that allows you to gain those resources. And getting everyone on the same page that there's no need to fight between, one towards the other. There's no need to fight because we're all in this fight together. You're poor, I'm poor, you're middle class, I'm middle class, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner. We're both fighting for SBA loans. It's
right.
We're all in this in the same principles with the same idea, trying to make out of this together in a sense. So understanding that and having these conversations, and it goes back to, what we were talking about earlier, common ground conversations. The more and more I start having these candid conversations with, business owners that generally wouldn't do business with African Americans, or generally wouldn't do business with Hispanics, or generally wouldn't do business with white Americans. The more and more we had these conversations, it's like, oh, yeah, your money is green and my money is green. Absolutely. So we can figure out how to make this same green money together. Then there's an opportunity for us, and we're looking at this from a perspective, I think, that is generated by, not to go too deep into it. I think there's an aspect of this that is hovering over all of us that is making this seem more than what it is, or misguiding our thought process of it, what it is. And if we can continue to have these candid conversations, we can continue to have these podcasts that are revealing these nuances that are dividing us, then maybe we can start to see more of the things that bring us together, more of the things that we have in common that will make these differences seem so minute that they can fade into the past. Now everything is not going to be washed away and forgotten, but at least we can have a better understanding of one another, better understanding of what makes each other tick, better understanding of what it is that we're trying to accomplish, as one grown man to another grown man trying to feed his family, take care of his kids. We got the exact same passions in life.
Right.
Build a legacy, take care of our family, make sure our kids have a legacy. Everything else beyond that is our aspirations to make those core values better. We are the same. And I think that's what the conversation really needs to start coming down to in these bigger conversations.
I do too. And my analogy I use a lot is run your personal life like a business, because you just hit it. Your green is green.
Green is green.
Businesses and corporations care about one thing: money. They don't care where it comes from. They don't. And that's what I keep going back to with the socioeconomic divide and the race side. They don't care. They don't. If there is a business opportunity to make money, businesses will find a way, regardless of skin color, language barrier, part of the country or the world it is in, right? Because they're making business decisions to get to their one goal, their common goal, and that is make money.
Make money.
Now, money isn't the end all be all. I believe humanity should reign supreme. Relationships matter. But in simple talk, businesses equal money, right?
Yes.
That's why I say you should run your personal finances specifically like a business, meaning go do these things that are going to hit upon your goals, your
Absolutely.
legacy,
Yes.
building your wealth, whatever that is. That does not equate to I'm not going to work with someone because of their skin color or their politicalness. What it don't matter, right?
Doesn't matter.
Because I am here to get where I need to go, and if I need to partner with someone to do so, that's Gucci, right? Let's do that.
That's it.
Only caveat being, if your core values are getting squashed by that entity, yeah, you're not going to do business.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
have that choice, right? You have that choice.
If those core aspects are starting to falter because of a partnership, then it may not be right.
Yeah, it's time to go, and you have that ability, and businesses do that too, right? They don't work with certain core values of theirs. So know your core value, but that comes all the way back to what we started to talk about.
Yes.
You have to know who you are.
You have to know who you are first and foremost, out the gate. How you operate, who you are, and everything about you. Yeah.
You know that, then all that falls into place. It sounds simple, right? I mean, we're talking about like this. It's for 30 minutes. Like we're talking about it like it's simple. We do it all day, every day, but it's work. It takes time, and it's a lifelong journey, right? You might not work with us for your whole life. We hope you do. But I need people to recognize that this isn't a 2-month fix, a 6-month fix. This big concept is every day of your life, you're going to be working towards these things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what's important. There's no quick fix, right?
There's no quick fix.
Right there. As we go into the this 2024 and you're starting to harvest, what are you seeing from a business perspective, overall business perspective in our economy right now that makes it right for others to either start planting or start harvesting?
I think there is a mind shift in consumer spending. I think we are starting to really get back into luxury spending. As a hold from the pandemic, a lot of people have really been holding on to their nest eggs, if you will, stashing away for a rainy day. The pandemic was so uncertain, so there was a lot of that. And I think we're starting to get back to a concept of pampering, if you will. So if you have the opportunity to tap into a consumer base with your business from that perspective, now is the time to not shy away from solid marketing plans and committing yourself to a strategy that's going to get things done. I heard a podcast a couple weeks ago where the guy was saying, if you can commit yourself solely to a process for 6 months, you can change your life. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I think in the statement, he was really being simple. Committing yourself to a process, when he said that, he was also saying that there were things that you were going to have to give up in committing to that process. You know, there's going to have to be, sacrifices when you commit to that process. And I think that is the greatest thing about, circling back to what we said earlier, having someone like us on the team that are not emotionally attached. And so we see the worthy sacrifices in order to stay true to the strategy. We see the areas of opportunity that say, hey, I know this is a hard decision to make, such as a brand that you've been curating for the past 4 years. It's so personal to you, but it's a worthy sacrifice to see what you can do if you shift, if you made this commitment to this one thing here or this strategy here, and that's, I think, is the biggest thing going into 2024 is, as a business owner, get a solid strategy that caters to your base and commit yourself to it, because there are more independent business owners now than there were before 2020. And there are a lot of people that are muddying the waters with not so great products and not so great customer service and so you have to work that much harder and be that much more diligent to prove yourself worthy of the professional that you are. And that is something that you may have to sacrifice, is giving more than you did in the past in order to receive the same or just inching on or inching above. So seeing those worthy sacrifices, man, having a strong strategy to set yourself apart or to maintain or continue to grow. Because you and I both know those fly-by-night companies, those that are muddying the waters, they're cutting their teeth and they're going to start to see their areas of opportunities and try to figure it out. If you have your solid strategy in place, you're going to see that 6 months and some. They're not going to see that 6 months, and you're still going to bring yourself out. And that's going to be really the goal.
Absolutely. And that's why I said discipline growth. You got to be disciplined to that plan, that
Yes, sir.
strategy, whatever it is, stick to it. Because like you said, I believe 2023 was a record setting in terms of new businesses started, new LLCs filed,
Yes.
which is fantastic. But to your credit there, you're talking about it muddies a lot of waters, and a lot of businesses fail. Most,
Yes.
majority fail, I believe, is the
Majority,
stat.
yes.
And that's because they don't have a strategy that they're going to stick to. So ultimately, stick to that strategy. As we wrap this up, because we're going to have you on again, and when we get off the air, I got something else I want to talk to you about. But what is one thing you want to leave this audience with during this call?
I think that sums it up, man. One thing that I want to leave, to your audience and to anyone listening, man, is really put together a solid strategy behind your business. What you did last year is not going to work this year. What you did 2 years ago is not going to work this year. This is going to be, as you said, it was a record-breaking year for LLCs filed last year. It's not going to change this year. It's probably going to double fold this year. And so those businesses that are surviving, those businesses that are slightly thriving, you want to maintain your growth, you want to maintain your bottom line, you're going to have to work harder to get the same benefit that you've seen in the past or the same return that you've seen in the past. And so your strategy is going to have to implement a more diligent approach to growth, a more direct understanding of what it's going to take for you to gain that 1%, 2%, 5%, 10% year over year that you're trying to attain. And so that's the thing that I want to leave anyone that's listening right now is put together that strategy and stick to it. Be diligent, be committed to that. In my opinion, this whole year, you can't come off the gas. You're not allowed to come off the gas in 2024. You're going to have to stay on it throughout this entire year because this is going to be another year for the books. And we have some big elections this year that's going to also make it a very confusing time if you're not, strategic and committed to what you have in place. There are going to be a lot of distractions, and you want to stay focused.
Stay focused, get a strategy, stay disciplined to it, and you will grow in 2024. But
Absolutely.
it's going to be a year, so better get it done.
The preceding program was sponsored by Black Mammoth. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Black Mammoth. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Black Mammoth website, www.blackmammoth.com. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions and securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice due to various factors including changing market conditions. The information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Black Mammoth do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature and is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results.